Tonight, we're tracking the rate of sea rise. A new government report finds our oceans will rise several feet higher than expected by the end of the century. So meteorologist TJ Dos Santos spoke with an expert to learn what it's going to mean for southern New England.
We also got a bird's eye view with Sky Drone 12 to show you some of the areas that will be most affected. It's a story you'll see only on Eyewitness News.
Sea level rise could impact people, infrastructure, and wildlife and could change our way of life. The current predictions for how high the sea could rise is tough to picture, so we took to the air.
Sky Drone 12 over Narragansett Bay, a major resource for Rhode Island, economically and culturally. And just like oceans around the globe, the bay is changing.
The sea level rise is accelerating.
Pamela Rubinoff is with the Coastal Resources Center at URI. She says since 1930, when sea level rise was first tracked in Rhode Island, the water has been steadily rising.
Around 9 inches here in Rhode Island. And interestingly enough, since the 1990s, we've seen around 3 of those inches.
Experts say that accelerating rate of sea level rise will soon turn inches into feet.
We're seeing some of our ice sheets melting. We're seeing the water expanding, and these two things, in addition to some of the currents changing, are showing itself on the shore of rising seas.
Oceans were expected to rise 7 feet by 2100, but a new report from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration has upped that total significantly.
By 2100, 9 to 11 feet.
That's right, 9 to 11 feet. The impacts on Rhode Island could be devastating.
For instance, by 2050, one of the state reports talked about 13 square miles permanently underwater.
That kind of sea level rise will change the shape of Rhode Island's coastline, from Misquamicut to Little Compton to right here at Oakland Beach.
This coastal flooding map from URI shows what just 7 feet of sea level rise would look like for Oakland Beach. Researchers are still updating this map to show the new, higher projections. As you can see, huge chunks of the area would be underwater. Sky Drone 12 over Barrington Beach, most of which would be gone if ocean levels rise 7 feet, with waters pushing the coast back nearly to the doors of the Rhode Island Country Club. And in downtown Providence, the hurricane barrier would have to be closed permanently. Otherwise, water would push all the way to City Hall. Middlebridge Road in Narragansett would also change dramatically. Many of these houses by the water would be underwater with a 7-foot sea level rise. And remember, new estimates are putting sea level rise at up to 11 feet by 2100.
Currently, Rhode Island's sea level plan does not incorporate the new forecast, but the state is looking at the study. Now, coming up at 6, we'll tell you what sea level rise is doing now to the area, and we'll let you know what can be done to combat it. I'm TJ Del Santo, Eyewitness News.
New details now in a story you saw only on Eyewitness News. We're tracking the rate of sea rise. Last hour, we told you that a new government report predicts ocean levels will rise about 10 feet by the end of this century.
And that's up from an earlier prediction of about 7 feet of sea rise. And as meteorologist TJ Dos Santo has learned, we're already seeing some of the effects along our coastline. He's got the details that are only on Eyewitness News.
At 5 p.m., we looked at what is causing sea level rise and the dire forecast. New at 6, let's look at what sea level rise is doing now to the area and what could be done about it.
Since the early 1900s, the height of Narragansett Bay has gone up by 9 inches. And an accelerated rate of sea level rise is expected to continue through 2100.
There's a direct correlation between increased carbon dioxide coming from our cars, coming from our power plants, and increased temperatures.
Pamela Rubinoff of the Coastal Resources Center and URI said this warming has led to ice sheets melting, water expanding, and currents changing.
So now we're saying it's not 6 feet by 2100, it's 7, 9, or 11.
How would sea level rise impact Rhode Island?
Well, we're already seeing some of the impacts to Rhode Island.
Flooding on extremely high tides is becoming more frequent, and that flooding is only made worse during storms. NOAA, along with Rhode Island Sea Grant, has developed the app My Coast, where users can submit flooding pictures and scientists can track the impact of rising seas.
You see some of these low-lying areas that will be permanently inundated.
With the latest forecast, many important Rhode Island landmarks would be severely impacted by 2100. Narragansett Beach would be gone. Much of the Port of Providence would be underwater, and there would be no more beach at Newport First and Second Beach. So, what can we do?
So right now, many of the communities are incorporating sea level rise and increased storm surge into their comprehensive plans.
Rubinoff said people have been raising their homes for a while, but they may have to raise them higher. Coastal roads will likely need to be elevated. People are putting their furnaces, air conditioning units, and hot water heaters on the second floor. But that won't put a stop to the rising seas.
You can take action at your very local level in terms of dealing with your greenhouse gas. You could work to try to support policies within the state.
If you'd like to see how the rising sea levels could impact your community, go to WPRI.com. We'll put a link to the interactive coastal flooding maps from URI. With the Mobile Newsroom, I'm TJ Del Santo, Eyewitness News.